Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all. Great to see those people in the sanctuary that are connecting and all those good things. And there are those beautiful people on Zoom. Hi. Yay. I love the waves. That's wonderful. Great to see everyone. We have a special announcement and we're going to start off with that. So I invite Brian and Larry to come forward. Can you use this? And then you will be on full view for the Zoom worshippers. Thanks, Brian.
I better put my glasses on. On March the 19th, Sunday, right after church at coffee time, we vision keepers are celebrating PI with small pies. PI stands for public, intentional, and explicit, about welcoming, as we say, all are welcome.
We're welcoming you all to stop. Think of our affirming side. We'll be having a few conversations during this time. Thanks so much, friends. We're looking forward to seeing you all there. I'd like to just do a real quick reading to add to this. These then are the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and temperance. And that's Galatians 5:22-23. Thank you for listening.
Wonderful. So I hope you'll be able to join us after worship next week. Thank you so much for that announcement. And I also want to give you a little bit of a heads up. You will be hearing a wonderful gift of music from Nadine in a moment, along with Barry. But Nadine has very kindly offered to perform, do a fundraising concert with two other renowned musicians here on April the 15th. You will be having an announcement about that. It's going to ping into your inbox at 12 noon today. So please don't disregard it. Have a good look. Take it in and mark this event down on your calendar. There will be more promotional material coming out, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. Take a look in your inbox. Now then, if you do not have access to a computer, cannot get the information, then in upcoming Sundays, we will have some printed material available for you. If you need help with that, you can call the office, okay? No one is excluded from this. We will make sure that you all know about it. And part of coming together in community is to share joys, and it's also necessary to share our sadness. So it is with sadness that I share the death of Gillian Gibbons' mum, who died on Friday. So please hold Gillian and the family in your thoughts and prayers as they mourn the death of her mum. So let us move into this Lenten season again. We are in the third Sunday of Lent. And as you can see, the community candles have been lit. Those candles of affirmation and reconciliation and celebration of diversity and recognition of our faith in Jesus. And now we are going to place 3 stones marking the path of our Lenten journey of contemplation. And these stones symbolize the times when we stumble, when we find it hard to continue. So I invite the stone bearers to come forward. May we, like Jesus, become living stones of love, marking the way to justice as we explore the contemplative practice this morning of via negativa, of befriending our darkness, of being aware of the emptiness and the possibility that comes out of that emptiness. So as we center ourselves further in this Lenten worship, let us have some music shared by Nadine and Barry. This building is a sanctuary that is built upon traditional territories of Aboriginal peoples it is located on our earth home. And we acknowledge the enduring presence of First Nations on this land, and that both they and the earth continue to cry out for justice. Those of us that are settlers on this land have ignored these cries for too long. And so again, we commit to walking the path of repentance, of reconciliation, of healing, to ensure that we will never again use the power as a church to hurt others with attitudes of cultural or spiritual superiority. We promise to touch the earth gently so that all life is nurtured. And I invite you to join with me in the prayer of call and lament. The bold parts are the opportunities for you to add your voice to this prayer. Oh God, your thoughts are not our thoughts. Your ways differ from ours. You look at troubled souls and see, still unstirred, the wings of an angel. We scan the finest of our neighbors, looking for a flaw. You view time in the context of eternity, finding places for waiting, for yearning, for suffering, and even for dying. We demand instant results and look for tomorrow before savoring today. Your thoughts are not our thoughts. Your ways differ from ours, and so we pray, forgive in us what has gone wrong, repair in us what is wasted, reveal in us what is good. Amen. And let us sing a hymn that might seem, we don't often hear this image of joyful in the dark. Obviously, we're going to be exploring that a little bit more as we did in January, but let us sing this hymn together now. Psalm 139 is a prayer psalm, and it's also a sung psalm. It's meant to be sung as a psalm of praise as part of worship services. And prayer is a conversation. It's a conversation with God where we bring all the intricate layers of who we are and our life experience, bringing the good and the not so great, the challenging and the unbelievable that is part of life's journey, because each of our journeys are unique. Each heart is unique, purposed, and intimately known by God. So I invite Harry to come forward, and he is going to read a section of Psalm 139.
Reading is Psalm 139, verses 1 to 12. Reading from the New International Version. You have searched me, God, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day. Of darkness is light to you.
The choir are going to share with us an anthem by Brian Tate. It's called O Source of All. And that's how this anthem begins. O source of all, you shine your light within, and then surround with holy silence, primal sound. You breathe light into our being. So why is it that we are exploring different contemplative practices throughout Lent? For some, these might seem kind of airy-fairy, nothing helping us to feel good in the moments. And there might have been a time when I might have Lent that way, but over the years, I've slowly come to understand these practices quite differently. They are a way of going deep within ourselves, of getting to know the person inside. And that might be different than the person that we project to the rest of the world. To do that, it takes courage, because it means that we are willing to move beyond our fear, all those things that limit us and hold us back. And I think most of us at different times in our lives live with that nugget of fear, that if people really knew me, how could they possibly love or like or respect or be a friend to? And that fear, that holding back, can take all sorts of shapes. It can shape, and it shapes our lives too, that's for sure. One of the ways that I realized when this was happening to me was it was fear that held me in a marriage long after that relationship, to all intents and purposes, had ended. Releasing myself from that felt like falling into a bottomless chasm. It actually was that act that was part of my journey into ministry. Because in that chasm falling, I felt God's love and acceptance. It was a free fall moment, but I wasn't alone. And I think I felt something of what that ancient psalmist was writing about when they wrote, "You have searched me, God, and you know me." So moving beyond fear into something different, hopefully into a place of compassion, of loving community, of all of those things that are life-giving. It's the premise from which Matthew Fox wrote his book many decades ago now, called Original Blessing. This book struck a chord with a lot of people at the time, most particularly because Fox is rejecting the idea of original sin. He comes from a place of original blessing, of a place where humankind are part of creation. They are not the top of the heap. They are part of the relationship. And Fox has written, a good 20 books now. He is founding president of the University of Creation Spirituality, that is in Oakland in California. Originally, he was a member of the Roman Catholic Dominican order. However, due to his writing and his theological interpretation, in 1993, he was dismissed from the Roman Catholic Church. And eventually he became a Protestant Episcopal priest. Try saying that. Episcopal priest. Anyway, over this journey, which continues, he's still alive, Matthew Fox believes that each and every one of us has the mystic within us. that we have access to all sorts of different experiences in our lives, and those can help us to form a closer relationship with that great mystery. Some of us might call it God. We can access it through the beauty, the many ways that we experience beauty in this life, which he calls via positiva. But we can also access this sense through the darkness and being willing to empty out, let go of things, what he calls via negativa. And he talks about all of us being born filled with wonder and awe. And he talks about how important it is that we try, if we've lost that as we get older, to try and recapture that awe and wonder. And that become our prayer and our praise, another way of building a relationship with God, what he calls via creativa. And every one of us, according to Matthew Fox, every one of you is a prophet. And our prophetic work is to, and I love how he describes this, is to interfere with all forms of injustice, which interrupts our authentic expression of life. And that he calls via transformativa. I don't know whether that's right, but it'll do. You get the idea. All about transformation. So we weave these various stages like a spiral dance. It is not a ladder to be climbed. We weave in and out of these stages throughout our life. We go from awe and delight, moving to uncertainty and letting go, creativity and passion, justice and healing, and back around again. And this spiral dance helps us to connect with our deepest being, and eventually will become reflected in our actions. Of course, it is a lifelong journey. So we are going to focus a little bit more into that via negativa, the idea of befriending the darkness, of holding the possibility of those empty spaces in our lives. And these practices of via negativa are usually around content-less practice. I know, but hopefully we'll get to that. It's about that letting go and deconstruction, and how I got my head around content-less practice is with the help of Tao Te Ching, who wrote this very helpful reflective poem. And I am a visual person. I like words, but I'm also a visual person. So I am going to invite Howie to pull up the next slide. And I invite you to look at the images as I share Tao Te Ching's words. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center whole that makes the wagon or the bike move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside which holds whatever it is that we want. We hammer wood to make a house, but it is the inner space that we inhabit. It's what makes a house livable. We work with being, but it is non-being that we use. So just let those words settle a little bit. Keep looking at the image for a moment as you think about the work of being, but it is non-being that we use in our lives. So let us come out of that time and let's explore that idea a little more. Thanks, Howie, for that image. I've experienced this idea of we work with being, but non-being is what we use. It was during a time of sabbatical from congregational ministry. And in typical United Church form, of course, you have to come up with a plan for your time. You have to state your goals and how you're going to achieve them. Goes on and on and on, you can imagine. And this is the work of being. So I went through that process, and in my case, what I was hoping to do was create a series of postcards which had short spiritual practice. And my idea was to use image as well as prayer, but also practice which was drawn from neuroscience. So it was a weaving together of various pieces, but they were in short little nuggets, the kind of thing that you could just put on your bathroom window, mirror, or put on your fridge. So that was the being, which I did. But there was something unexpected, totally unplanned, that came out of that time. I wrote a lot of poems. Poems seemed to just flow out of me during those months. And I believe that they came from a place of non-being. There weren't any expectations. It wasn't a I have to do, but something flowed out of me, seemed to surface from deep within. I'm going to share one of them with you now. It's interesting that I saw a red-winged blackbird yesterday when I was hiking. You'll get the point as I read. Seeking solitude, I encounter life in all its multifaceted splendor. The red-winged blackbird, raucously proclaiming its territory. Clouds of insects, mindless to my presence until one, swallowed whole, was lost. A young man arcing stones into water, tracing airy peaks with every throw. Do you like mountains? He inquired of me. His words connect to a distant place where earth shook, rock buckled, and death broke free. Seeking solitude, I encounter life in all its multifaceted splendor. So the mystics speak of contemplation as watching, observing, and then letting go. It's not so much obsessive navel gazing and withdrawing from reality. It's about creating space on a regular basis to look at what is real in our lives, to take an honest look, to listen and feel for that truth that is beyond the obvious. And it takes practice. And I've spoken of Barbara Brown Taylor before. I have quite a few go-to people, and she is one of them. And she writes about the things that are her areas of expertise, and you wouldn't find any of these on a resume. It's not the kind of thing that you would want to put down. She says that she is an expert in the fear of the unknown. She's very familiar with the sense of divine absence. She has a mistrust for conventional wisdom. She's suspicious of religious comforters. She is very aware that any language that we have about God limits that divine being. And she speaks about how important it is for her to acknowledge that many things start in the dark, whether it's a seed in the ground, a baby in the womb, or Jesus in the tomb. It starts in the dark. Think about incubation. Think about brewing, baking. Think about when you're simmering a pot on the stove with the lid partially covered. Think about fermenting and germinating. All of these processes need darkness, and there's no shortcuts. For the transformation to be complete, you have to let the process unfold. And that's what the practice of via negativa is all about. And I found a beautiful litany. It's in the New Zealand Book of Common Prayer. And I'm going to end this time of reflection with some of this litany that will help us to think about how we enter into the positive aspects of the dark and letting go. So we are invited to begin by saying a quiet thank you for the light, and then closing your eyes. So say thank you for the light and close your eyes. We wait in darkness, expectantly, longingly, perhaps anxiously, thoughtfully. The darkness is our friend. Into the darkness of night, desert peoples find relief from relentless heat. In the darkness of sleep, we are soothed, restored, healed, and renewed. Sleep is where dreams rise up. And God spoke to Jacob and Joseph through dreams, and God is speaking still. Sometimes in the solitude of darkness, our own fears and concerns, hopes and visions rise to the surface, and we come face to face with ourselves. And in that same darkness, we find companionship for the journey. We know that you are with us, O God. We await your presence. We await You're coming in the darkness that contains both our hopelessness and our hope and expectancy. Let us say thank you to the dark as we open our eyes. And we are going to use music to help us again explore what this emptiness, what this darkness can bring. What are the gifts of this? And we're going to sing, it's called God in the Darkness. It's More Voices 17 as we share together in this hymn. I invite the welcome team to start to take the offering that is taken in the sanctuary, acknowledging that there is so much that is given to the ministry of Richmond Hill United Church, and that people give online, that people give through actions, people give through music. So even those people on Zoom, I hope that you feel part of this time of offering what we are to the work and ministry of Richmond Hill United Church. Offertory response. I invite Jane Wedlock to come forward and lead us in the prayers of the people.
Let us come with gratitude into the still and peaceful silence. Holy One, we are each one on a Lenten journey to an unknown future, where the path is not always clear and the road rutted and worn in places. But journey we must with intention. Sometimes it is difficult. We search for the way forward. We hide from our doubts and our fear, the regret of things undone. We want to be known. We hope for clarity. We wait for insight. God of deepest and most powerful love and ever-present companionship, you see us when we are in our shadow places. You know each one to the core of our being, even the places we cannot ourselves acknowledge, accepting us, flaws and all, with love and grace. You breathe into our hollowness, our aching hearts, our bruised souls, tending that which needs healing. Creator God, you remind us daily as we look for the sacred of our kinship with the earth, the heavens, and the deep waters, and our interdependence with each other. We find solace in wild things, joy in new friendships, amazement at cosmic beauty, renewal out of what we thought was lost. Comfort and hope through the Spirit's breath, emerging as threads of light in our despair, calling us forward to love the world deeply. In silence now, let us open our hearts so that all that we carry can be lifted up. And we remember especially Gillian Gibbons and her family, who are grieving the loss of her mother. Hear our prayers, loving one, for the grieving, for the lonely, for the lost, for all who struggle for justice, for those whose voices are silenced, and for all who dream. And hear us now as we sing together the Lord's Prayer.
We are traveling through Lent, but we know that Easter is coming. So Joanne and Linda this morning are going to offer an opportunity for you to participate in the flowers that will decorate the sanctuary on Easter Sunday. Maybe you would like to make a donation in memory or celebration. So after the service, I'm not quite sure where you're going to be, Joanne. What do you think? Right there. Right there. So as we bring this time together to a close, let us take with us that aspect of light and dark. So let us sing together, Let There Be Light. It's a Voices United hymn, 679. And as we journey into the world, may the stones no longer be stumbling blocks. May they mark the way, guide us along the path to living love in the world. And so let us sing our blessing between darkness and light. we go in peace.